Awesome. Welcome everybody to another sport and interview, right? You know how we do this, right? We like to meet with industry professionals, right? A lot of these times they're directors, right? Within the collegiate space, we learn a little bit about their process, their strategies and things that we're doing. Today we're going to be talking to Brooklyn College. We have Xander Raff. I hope I said his last name right.
Yep, you
Raff
did. You
here,
got it.
who is the director of the program. He is going to be answering some questions. Raff, how you doing? Or Xander, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Man, great. Like I was just telling you, man, it's a good time of the year to get things going. So I appreciate you taking some time. As you know, but audience, what we're really going to focus on here today is ideas around recruitment, your strategies, your opinions, right? I think this is something that's very new. And I like to create most of our audience are going to be other directors. People are new at doing this. And maybe with you doing this for several years, right, you can give some ideas, some feedback, and some strategies that you do on your own. So with regarding, let me ask you the first question. I think this is a really a good way to start. Our question is, how does Brooklyn College's approach to student recruitment different from other universities? And I think a great way for you to tell this question is talk about how you guys recruit, but then what you guys do differently, right? I think that'd be a great way to introduce your program and what you guys find important.
Yeah, yeah. So, we're a newer program here in New York City. We've been around for a couple of years now. We started off as a club, got supported. This is really our first like full year being genuinely supported with me on his staff versus being a president. And the entire structure around this was because Brooklyn College has, I argue, one of the most natural talent pools. And that's in large part because New York City has, a huge talent pool here.
Yeah.
And not to mention, we've got very close connections with a lot of high schools and stuff like that. Just kind of the nature of being where we are in Brooklyn. So I will say that we have one advantage that is hard for a lot of schools to emulate, and that is the natural geographical advantage. We do have one. And us here at BC, we've been able to leverage it pretty effectively. But beyond that, it's really reaching out and finding out what students want, what they're looking for, and what I can offer them. So we've been able to attract students here predominantly because we offer a super affordable degree. We offer a wide variety of degrees, especially in fields that kind of naturally draw esports-oriented folks. And also, one of our key values here is actually, I mean, it's diversity. We're one of the most diverse campuses in the entire United States, and through that, we get a lot of those students that otherwise may not, initially be interested in pursuing esports, but we're good at it, and offering them something that they just haven't had a lot of opportunity for, which gets them more passionate, more engaged, more invested. So we've taken some folks that a lot of schools would have passed up because they weren't quite at that level yet, and we built them up. And just through them getting the opportunity that they hadn't had in high school, they hadn't had in middle school, and weren't really being offered for college, we're taking a lot of folks that are right on that cusp and then pushing them into that elite level.
I love that. And you talk about that geographical advantage and something I know well as just the New York area that just seems to be where a lot's happening. I used to say this to people all the time in my meetings. Just I don't know what they're putting in the water out there, but in terms of esports, there seems to be just a lot of go-getters, right? Like people who want to make things happen and instead of talk about it. So I think it's interesting how you're gonna kind of been able to lean onto that community. So does that mean, I'm just curious for you, just very simple, does that mean your guys' focus is on recruiting from a local perspective, right? Just I guess a little bit. How do you guys have a big push on? Hey, we want people from going past New Jersey, right? We want people from other states. Or you guys feel very confident in what's happening in New York?
Yeah, so, well, just to put this very bluntly, CUNY offers the most affordable degrees to New York-based students. So if you're in the
Wow.
state of New York, you're getting one of the most affordable degrees in the country. And for undergraduate, we offer a degree plan and a lot of opportunities that are akin to private schools. So obviously, you get a little bit more dedicated time for some of those private schools. You may get access to some of those professors a little bit more, or certain things. Also, sorry, I just realized I had some yarn up there. But at the end of the day, Brooklyn College's degree is designed to elevate students, and we take a lot of students that come from poverty, that are in the middle class, and we push them up. So first and foremost, New York students are a primary resource for us because what we offer them is, you can get a partial scholarship, a good one, to a great esports school, and our degree will still be more affordable. We have those degree plans. So again, for New York students, it's kind of a non-question, because what we offer, not many places can offer. Now, that being said, we are drawing in international students. We're drawing in students from around the country, because even for out-of-state students, this school being a public college, part of the CUNY system, the degree is still affordable, right? Even though I can't offer at this time, a wealth of scholarships to students, our degree is just so affordable inherently that, as long as you can afford housing in New York City, and you want to make the transition to living in one of the most active cities in the world, then we're able to attract folks. Again, I also lean on our diversity. If you're a student right now in Tennessee or Oklahoma or Missouri, but you're from Brazil, or you're from Southeast Asia, or that, and you're looking for more community, even if you're doing something good with the esports programs there, we actually have a lot to offer you, because we have folks that have your similar background. You might know somebody here through extended family. I mean, we have plenty of students that have been like, I have a cousin or an aunt that lives in New York City, and I would love to be closer to them. So it's also this idea that we offer community to anyone that wants it here. Again, through the diversity of our campus, you'll be able to find somebody that understands your background, where you've come from, regardless of whether you're an international student or you grew up in Oregon or Arizona, but even more so, it's really a focus on saying, hey, we have a great wealth of degree plans, and we can make them affordable while still giving you the opportunity to play at an elite level.
I love that. And what I love about your wording, Xander, is how you're so focused on community, right? I noticed you haven't really said much about top player, or being the best at Fortnite, or being the best at Apex Legends, or being confident, right? What you're really talking about is we want people who fit. And that's interesting, right? We had a conversation with John Price at Ohio State, who echoed that same message, right? It's about, hey, what fits, what types of student fit our program, not necessarily who's the best, right? And I feel like you're saying that. We're not necessarily saying that because your focus is on community. Yeah, and if you happen to be a great player who's on our program, that's great, right? And I think really for these young students, I think it's kind of obvious to us and to know how and how the structure works. But when you talk to these students and you ask them, I would think a lot of them are focused on, oh, the director wants me to be the best player, right? And I think it needs to be communicated more from directors like you, right? Hey, that is not what's as important to me as, hey, do you fit the program? Right. So I love that you say that. A question I want to ask you as well, and I think this is be really good for, because a lot of the audience here is going to be new directors, right? People who are seeing what you've done for the last couple of years, right, and want to emulate that. What role does technology and social media play in your recruitment effort, right? And more particularly, right, because I would want to know, like, hey, are you using Twitter? How are you using that, right? If it's even playing a part at all.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, okay, so first and foremost, this is esports. Social media is key. It really is. It's key. You're not getting much done without it. At least in terms of getting people to know you exist, right? And that's the difference really here between traditional athletics, which is also a background I have. For context, I wrestled in high school. I did MMA in the Army. I was a combatives instructor also. So I come from a traditional athletics background, and I come from that where you've got scouts, you've got people coming out looking for you, right? Esports isn't like that yet. And I do hope we get there to where the infrastructure is solid enough. But right now, it's a lot of students, coming across your program saying, hey, this is in the right area for me. This is like maybe where I want to end up. And they maybe have the esport I like. Maybe they're very good at it. Of course, your top programs, for example, using League of Legends, your top programs that are in CLOL year after year after year, people know those programs. Yep. But you're still finding a lot of high-level players at other programs that are going and building new dynasties because it's in the right geographical area. And maybe they held an event with the high school. Maybe, they reached out and did like a cool social media event for their older brother who goes to the school. And so for us, that it's also why community is so important, because, we're not just building connections with our students. We're building connections with everyone they know. And the more that they are engaged and happy, the more they're telling their parents, they're telling their friends, they're telling the people in their clubs at the high school they were at last year or the year before. And that's been a huge drive for the students we get. It's really a lot of word of mouth right now. You change one student's life in an impactful way, and they might go tell 5 or 10 people that will end up coming to your school now versus the school across the road. And I use that as with New York as an example, because that's literally what happens. They come here instead. And so that's been a big one for us. The social media aspect, us constantly posting, it engages our students. We have student leaders that handle the social media. So we're teaching them professional skills. We're building upon what they love to do, giving them more means to be involved. And because of that, we constantly have posts going out that we have students at other colleges that are looking to transfer that they see. We have students that are high school students and just trying to follow the scene, and they see us. And so even when we weren't the level of the program we are now, that was a big way in which we got people to reach out to us, to connect with us and say, hey, what's Brooklyn College about? What's going on? I'll be honest, this year we had a couple of very high level recruits reach out to us, folks that had even played in pro and wanted to know. And it was purely because of, the social media efforts of our student populace, not just them, doing the, hey, we won this week against so-and-so post, but also, we have casual smash events and having students not just post it from the official Instagrams, but from their own Instagrams. And again, the more you build the community to be tight knit, to really appreciate what you've got, then all of that stuff comes very organically. And of course, it's easier in urban environments. If you are somewhere like a Missouri or an Oklahoma, you got to work really hard to reach out. But here for us, just getting the students to do these things, there's so much connectivity in and around Brooklyn, in and around the rest of New York City, and even within New York, because so many folks go to those SUNY schools that are from New York City and go upstate, that again, it does naturally draw people back to us as a hub for what this is and for what esports could be in New York.
No, I love that. And honestly, I love diving into this question because I think it's so important. I want to ask you quickly about the K-12 side of it, right? Because one thing I think is not happening, right, is obviously there's not that strong connection between what's happening with the high schools in the K-12 space within these colleges, right? And something I would like to ask if I'm in the position of a K-12 is, do you guys pay attention to what they are doing on social media, right? And maybe some advice to these guys, these people running high school programs with seniors or these K-12 leagues, right? Should they be posting more? Because people like you are like, we pay attention. We watch what you guys are doing. We're looking at the students, right? And maybe if they could hear from more directors like you guys saying, hey, when you guys post, we pay attention. We see the students that are out there. Maybe they need to hear that from you guys.
Yeah, no, listen, we do. Very bluntly, we do. New York City has 3 very active teams that are playing at a super high level for New York State right now. I mean, they're consistently top 3 in New York State, basically. And so we're constantly looking at what they're posting. But even beyond that, I love following what high schools in the Midwest are doing. Some of them are so innovative. I think some of those high schools that, the faculty and the administration are building better infrastructure than half the colleges out here right now. Yeah. So naturally, I love seeing what students are posting, but I also love seeing what high school educators are posting on behalf of their students. I love, getting engaged with Minnesota Rocket League, with, Michigan League of Legends. I mean, these are things that I do follow. I get on Twitter, I get on Instagram. I'm following all these organizations, the state organizations, and some of the educators themselves, some of the students themselves. And I see what they're doing, what they're up to. It gives us a good idea if this is someone we want to reach out to. In the future, and what have you. And I also, not for nothing, I've helped guide some students where I'm like, hey, listen, New York City's not affordable for you. You're living somewhere this isn't the right move, but let's get you talking to the colleges that could help you out, that you may be a good fit for. Because, for me, it's also not just about what Brooklyn College benefits from. Esports is a young field, and we have so much opportunity to guide our esports talent towards success. And the more often that colleges are able to kind of, come together and do the right thing, the better the entire industry benefits. And so, like I said, I see some of these guys in Michigan, and Indiana and Minnesota. And as much as I'd love to have, all of them here, they've got so many opportunities there too that they might just not know about. So when I have one of them reach out to me, I send them the right way. And consequently, when it can work out, then we've got a great conversation because I've watched them play. I've watched them in their state championship or, their league final. And it just all comes together. But again, all of that is sourced through social media, whether it's Discord, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, I would say Discord and Twitter are the two biggest for that specifically. Instagram has been a growing one for collegiate esports and for high school esports. You get a lot of good feelings on there, and you get to see a lot of parents get engaged too. And even sometimes on Facebook. So, I think social media as a whole comprehensive tool is very important for the field with where it's at right now. I hope only through success it becomes a little bit less important because, these leagues and colleges will have a little bit more interactivity in a way that doesn't just need to go through that medium. But right now it does. We're fine with it. We're working with it. And I love seeing what the students are doing, whether they're in 5th grade or 10th grade, or especially, of course, my juniors and seniors in high school who I can go out and recruit. But, all of them. I love seeing the success.
So you guys hear it first, right? And I like to ask this guy, I come from the K-12 space and working with high schools and districts, right? And I just felt there wasn't a lot going on social media rise. And maybe you guys hear it first, right? From a director, right? They do pay attention. Post more, activate your students, show who they are, right? Because people like Xander will reach out and want to know more, right? I'd love to ask this question. I know we're kind of getting low on time, right? So I'll ask 2 more questions here. I think this is a great question, right? Because a lot of the people watching, again, are new directors trying to see what you do and how you do it. As you know, a lot of these programs are in different areas. Some of them have support from the administration, right? Some of them don't, right? And it all comes from one word: success, right? And recruitment. As we know, right? They are investing, right, in esports as a recruitment pipeline. That's the whole point of a school existing, right? Is to bring students in and educate them, right? So they see that, right? But then the question I know that a lot of directors have worked, just talking to them myself is, how do you determine that success, right? I would love to know for you guys, right? Is it as simple as numbers, right? When you're going to administration, hey, we have 20 students and they're doing 20 degree programs, we win, right? And how can these young directors who haven't gotten the buy-in from their administration yet show those metrics that are successful, that appeal, right? Because it looks like you guys have had that success at going to your administration and they go, we love this, we're all in, right? Yeah. What metrics did you show are that are important for these small directors who are just starting out?
Yeah. So I'll say first that, it's important to recognize whether you're a private school or a public school. We're a public school. Our entire success is built around student engagement, student retention, and of course, competitive success plays some value. But private schools, it may be a lot more fixated around the competitive success. You have to be aware of what your administration is looking for if you're a private school. And I just want to make that note first because they've got their own set, and it is exclusively determined by who's funding your program, which administrators are what they want to see. It's a lot more individualistic. You got to be smart about how you tailor what you're doing around what your administration wants to see. Now, that being said, at a public college, okay, we have one measure of success. All right, and that is student engagement, student retention, and then, of course, recruiting. All right, but student engagement is actually number one. Are the students who are already here, are they engaged with this? Are they showing up to events? Are they participating? Are we supporting them? Are we then keeping those students? And can we now draw in more students as a result? Now, I will say that student engagement has been the core premise of what we're doing here. It's why when I founded the club to begin with, it wasn't just the esports club, the League of Legends club, it was the esports and gaming club that was designed to facilitate the esports side, because I realized immediately we had Division I level, esports talent, but it was also to support folks that want to play Animal Crossing, that want to play Minecraft, that want to play The Sims and just talk to somebody about what they did in The Sims, to play any number of casual titles. And just, again, going back to my core point, have community, right? We're a commuter school at the end of the day. Half of our students commute from outside of Brooklyn. And go there. They show up to school. They go home. This is a way in which we're building genuine, like what you would think of as college campus, right? Where you go back to a dorm, you've got friends. This is how we, build that kind of sense of community, that sense of what people want out of college. Because when they go home now, they're playing with their friends from the school. They're engaging with their friends from the school, whether it's competitive or casual. We've got folks playing gotcha games in the Discord. We've got folks, getting together to run, Rainbow Six Siege just for fun. We've got Valorant players getting their friends in and playing norm games with everybody. I mean, we've got people playing Among Us. We have huge Among Us nights. People love that game. So, it's all just fixated around, building that community up. And the more that's the focus, especially as a public college, but also even more so the private colleges that care about engagement and retention, that's how you get it done. That's the core measure of success. Now, again, part of that comes through competitive success too, because your most talented students, the one that will be the most engaged, tend to be, not always, but tend to be your esports minded people. Yep. So you want to build a program that is still competitive. They might not be at that super elite D1 level, playing the top 32 a CLOL the way that like our main league team is. But as long as you're getting them in a league where they have opportunities to win, where you're building infrastructure around them, all of that, then you can also consider that competitive success, even if you don't necessarily have it at the highest level. Fortunately, though, esports, whether it's NACE, NECC, ECAC, any of the partner conferences, all of that, they offer so much support for esports. They offer so many different levels for players to play at. So even if you're building a team that would, be considered average players, they can play against other players at their skill level and still have an opportunity to win a championship and build and grow. We have JV teams in multiple esports for this reason, because even though they're not quite at the level of the main team, they're still good enough to where they're playing with players of their own skill level and they're having the same structure, the same environment, all that. So you can really do both. But I go back to saying that, again, it is at its core a student engagement, student retention issue first. That is the measure of success at a public college. That's what administrators want to see. That's what faculty want to see. And that's what the students themselves want to see. They want to see that they have community. And then you go beyond that and you say, okay, how do we get the best players to win now? How can we bring home some championships and do the things that will show the rest of the nation that we have this community here that will attract them and bring them in?
This is so spot on, and I encourage any director who hearing this and going, this is new to me, this whole community focus. Please listen again, right? Because as someone who talks to a lot of programs, right, I that is the future of the buy, right? That's not the future of esports, but in order, as of right now, to get the administration in, it's pretty direct, right? Universities are different, but it's about retention and it's about getting people recruited at the end of the day. They all phrase it in their own different words, right? And you just hit it on the nail so hard. Xander, I appreciate you. One thing I want to give you just the last 1 minute or whatever for you to do is really plug your program. So I would love is you have to think about this. This is going to be posted. There could be a future student who is researching you and they come across this video. So very simply, to students that are out there looking to watching this, thinking, hey, I'm in high school. I'd love to attend the program. Tell them just a little bit like why Brooklyn College, right? What is it about you guys and what you guys can do, and what is it that simply you would say to students who are interested in attending an esports program?
Well, listen, this is my favorite thing to say. I love talking to these students. It's a highlight of my day anytime I get the chance. So I'll just say this. I'll keep it very blunt. All right. If you're looking for an affordable degree in a lot of those fields, you're looking for something in computer science, you're looking for something especially in business or in broadcast, TV, radio, emerging media. We're a great school that offers super affordable degrees in Brooklyn, which is a location not a lot of other schools can beat. And also, we play at an extremely high level. Our League of Legends team is super elite. They're pushing for top 32 in CLOL right now. Our Valorant team is consistently top 50, top 40, top 30 on the East Coast. Okay, we've got Smash, which our Smash team is very good. Our Counter-Strike team took third place in ECAC behind only NEU and Fisher. All right. And finally, we've got Rocket League, which we're trying to rebuild, that they've had a lot of competitive success too. We love bringing in new esports. So if you're an Overwatch player, you're a Rainbow Six Siege player, we want to build a team around you. Okay. And at the end of the day, when all of the competing is done, when all of your academic stuff is done, you'll make a ton of friends. You'll have a ton of people around you. Even if you're that quiet person on Discord, even if you're that, shy person that maybe doesn't want to get stuck in a ton of in-person events, we will support you. And we'll take care of you, whether it's dealing with, financial issues to try and get school paid for or helping you get job opportunities. We're here to make sure that you grow as a person and that you get to play at the highest level.
I love it. I love it. And you can hear the passion in his voice. That's a director I would want to work for and work with, right? Xander, I appreciate you. I encourage you to look him up, Xander Raff on LinkedIn. I'm sure he'd love to connect with you. Thank you, Alexander, for being here, taking your time to chat with me. Everyone there, right? Something else to throw out to you guys, right? If you're looking to get help with being placed, right? And how do you deal with all that administration side at Esportian? That's what we do, right? We're connected with directors like Xander, right? And we take the skill sets of you and what you're trying to do, and we just make it easier for everyone involved, right? So Xander, I appreciate you, man. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And kudos to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for giving me the time here. Thanks, Esportian, and for all the stuff you guys are doing. And check out CUNY BC Esports on all the socials. Appreciate it, guys.
Awesome.